It's the recap for Friday, August 9th, 2024. I'm Daniel Montoya Jr. for General Effect Media, and we have our top 25 that are advancing to semifinals that play later today for the chance to advance the top 12 into finals tomorrow on Saturday. Now, yesterday, we released a video giving our predictions, our thoughts on 13 through 25. Let's dive into those results before we get into the top 12 results, and let's see where I was right, where I was wrong, etc., etc. Now, yesterday, we had Pacific Crest in 13th, Blue Knights in 14th, Crossman in 15th, Spirit of Atlanta in 16th, the Academy in 17th, Music City in 18th, Spartans in 19th, Blue Devils B in 20th, Genesis 21st, Gold 22nd, Seattle Cascades in 23rd, Jersey Surf in 24th, and the Battalion in 25th. Just missing out on finals was the Colombians in 26th. Now, if we go into what my predictions were, well, I got 12 out of 13 semifinalists right, if we're not counting the top 12. Where was I wrong? Well, I predicted the Colombians would be in and that Seattle Cascades would be out. And boy, was I wrong, because Seattle was 23rd, rather. Very much in, Colombians just out. Now, if we go into placements, well, I wasn't as successful. Yes, I named correctly 12 of the semifinalists in the 13 through 25. However, I only batted 53.84% in the accuracy department. I thought that Blue Knights were going to be 13th and Pacific Crest was going to be 14th. That was flipped. However, I feel like I mentioned, or at least in my brain, I thought Pacific Crest is going to end up 13th when it's all said and done on Friday, but they did it earlier than I thought it was going to be. They did it in prelims or quarterfinals, not necessarily semifinals. Then I had the next two right with the Crossman in 15th, Spirit of Atlanta in 16th. I said that Music City was going to be 17th, the Academy was going to be 18th. I was wrong. Academy was 17th, Music City was 18th. Then I was right about Spartans, Blue Devils B, Genesis, and Gold. And then this is where I got a little bit off. I said Battalion was going to be 23rd. That was Colombians. I said Colombians were going to be 24th. That was Jersey Surf. And then I said Jersey Surf would be the last core in, and the last core in was the Battalion. So I did okay. Didn't do as well as one had hoped, but 12 out of 13 plus the original 12, I had it pretty locked and loaded. Now let's talk about that top 12. Right now, it's starting to be very clear who the top 12 are going to be. I think realistically, really kind of looking at who are the key battles that are going to be. So right now, let's talk about the caption ranking. So if we start at the top, we see that Blue Coats was pretty much first all the way through with the exception of second place in visual performance, color guard, and percussion. When you put that comparison to Boston, who was in second place, pretty much a lot of second places. Their best captions were first in visual performance, first in color guard, and first in percussion. However, they did receive one fourth place ranking in one of the four general effect. We moved to third place with the Blue Devils, and pretty consistent third place. They did have a second place in that GE caption that had Boston in fourth. They also had a lower caption of fourth in percussion. I say lower, but that was just the lowest one. It really wasn't as big of a deal. They had been beating the Blue Coats in percussion, but as we get into finals week, things start messing around, but that was their lowest caption. Carolina Crown placing fourth. However, a lot of their captions were in fourth and fifth, with their highest captions definitely being in visual analysis, color guard, overall visual, brass, and music analysis. Their lowest caption, sixth place in percussion. And that comes into play because right behind them, the Phantom Regiment in fifth place, with their highest caption being third in one of the general effect over fifth place Carolina Crown. Their lowest, however, in visual analysis and color guard, both sixth place. Speaking of sixth place, Santa Clara Vanguard, highest caption, third in percussion. All right, they're climbing back to where we're usually used to seeing them, in the top two. However, that general effect 2, and this is the caption that is the weirdest in terms of like the numbers are kind of wonky, had Santa Clara Vanguard in eighth. This is that GE2. Speaking of seventh, I don't think I mentioned 7, the Mandarins, who pretty much are locked into 7 and who I predicted was going to be in 7th. Their highest caption, well, that would be General Effect 2 in that wonky judge. I don't know who it is, and they're way more qualified to judge DCI than I am. Just the rankings kind of all over the place. Their lowest caption, 10th, percussion. It's a big deal. Blue Stars in 8th overall. Their highest caption was GE3, 6th place. Their lowest caption, 11th in percussion. We go to the Colts in 9th. Their highest caption was an 8th in visual analysis. Their 2 lowest captions, both 10th place, music analysis and overall music. And then the Cavaliers currently in 10th. Their highest caption, 8th in percussion. Their lowest captions, 2 of the 4 general effect captions, had them in 12th. We go to the Troopers, who are overall in 11th. Their highest caption would be overall music, that had them in 7th in percussion was their highest caption. Their lowest, 14th in color guard. 14th, right? That's the only caption where they're out of finals. And then we get into 12th place, the Madison Scouts, pretty consistent. Their highest captions, 2 of the GE had them in 11th. Overall, they were in 11th. Visual rank, they were in 11th. Their lowest caption, GE1, had them in 13th. Percussion had them in 13th. So when you look at those, you can see how when you're near the top, things are pretty close. And then as we get lower, things start getting a little bit zip codey in terms of ranking, but still pretty close to each other. Again, a statistical anomaly of sorts. In any other, I don't know enough math and statistics. This is not the way it should happen, but that's just me. If we look into the 13th, 14th, 15th, where things are still trying to figure themselves out, Pacific Crest was in 13th overall. Their highest caption, 12th in percussion. Their lowest, brass and music, in 16th place. The Blue Knights finishing 14th with their highest caption, GE1 in 12th. Their lowest, 15th place in GE3, GE4, color guard, and percussion. And then in 15th place, we have the Crossmen with pretty consistently 13, 14, 15 overall. If we go into Spirit of Atlanta, we're starting to see things consistent in their rankings. Spirit of Atlanta placing 16th, placing 18th in percussion. So yeah, you can see that the captions, like I mentioned, when you're near the top, they're really close. And when you get to the bottom, we get some little wonkiness. Or I don't want to say the bottom, as the things start opening up. Now, I mentioned that we've kind of set on who our top 12 are going to be. I don't think there's going to be a change at all. It's just, I don't think it's going to happen. And if it does happen, something bad happened to the Madison Scouts. But even though I think we know who the 12 are going to be and we know who the champion's going to be, it's Bluecoats, I think there's still room for some drama. Whether that drama happens today in semifinals or it waits until tomorrow in finals, nevertheless, I think it's going to happen. And we have some key matchups or battles for this. I think we're going to see a battle between Carolina Crown and Phantom Regiment for that 4th and 5th spot. We're going to see a battle for Cavies and Troopers in that 10th and 11th spot. And while I don't think things are going to change, there will be a battle between the Madison Scouts and Pacific Crest for rankings in subcaptions and overall captions. Now, if we look into how these drum corps are facing each other and how they can make up ground on these other corps, we look at the subcaptions and we look at the spreads. Now, I'm going to talk about Bluecoats in Boston, even though I don't think it's an issue. Bluecoats are going to win. It's just a matter of by how much. Now, there are 3 captions in which the Boston Crusaders beat the Bluecoats. Visual performance. Right now, the difference is 0.05. Boston Crusaders scored a 19.5. Bluecoats scored a 19.45. That is a negligible difference. That means any given day, that means if I was 5 feet over here, I might give a different score. That's a toss-up. That's what we call a toss-up, folks. If we get to color guard, Boston 19.7, Bluecoats 19.6. That falls under comparable. That falls under minor differences. That falls under play 3 times. We might have a different champion 2 out of the 3 times, 1 out of the 3 times. That's possible. Very possible for the Bluecoats to beat Boston in color guard on finals night, but maybe not necessarily win the color guard caption. And then we get to percussion. Boston 19.6, Bluecoats 19.55. Once again, negligible, doesn't even matter. It's a blink of a difference. So all of that to say, none of this is solid. Boston shouldn't feel that safe in these captions, and Bluecoats shouldn't feel like they can't win those captions. It is entirely possible for Bluecoats to win all captions on Friday and or Saturday. The difference is minuscule. Now, if we go into Carolina Crown versus Phantom Regiment for that 4th and 5th spot, and I do believe when it's all said and done on Saturday, Phantom Regiment will be 4th Carolina Crown will be 5th. If we look at GE1, right now 18.6 to 18.5, 0.1, minor difference, could be any given day. Look at GE3, 19.0 to 18.85, that is 0.15, minor differences, comparable. GE4, 19.2 to 19.1, just a 1 point difference. These are blinks, these are hair lengths of a difference that could be changed. Different judges, different perspectives. I could be looking at a different place for once. We go into music analysis, 18.925 for the Crown, 18.85 for Phantom Regiment. That's nothing. And then we get into percussion, 19.0 to 18.8. 0.2 is obviously bigger than 0.1, but it's still a small enough gap for things to be overcome. Just like I said earlier, Crown should not feel safe in the spreads between that, and Phantom should not think that's a huge mountain to overcome. If we look at the battle for 10th and 11th place between the Cavaliers and the Troopers, and I believe the Troopers will end up in 10th place on Saturday night. GE1, 17.35 to 17.2. All right, that's 0.15. That's a difference, but that's nothing. GE4, 17.8 to 17.75. Literally nothing. Nothing at all. That's, I don't know why that's the way it is. Visual performance, 17.7 to 17.5. 0.2, almost nothing. I think that, again, Troopers shouldn't be worried. Troopers can make this up. Cavaliers, don't rest on your laurels, as they say. And then if we go to the Madison Scouts versus Pacific Crest battle, which Madison Scouts are in, I will be shocked if the Madison Scouts don't get into finals convincingly. GE1, Pacific Crest, 16.85 to 16.95 with the Madison Scouts. 0.1, that's overcomable. Is that a word? Visual performance, 17.0 for Pacific Crest to a 17.3 Madison. 0.3, you're barely in that comparable area boxes. I think Pacific Crest are going to celebrate a 13th place finish, which is kind of where they've left off pre-pandemic. They were going to be the next core that was going to get into finals for the first time. Pandemic happened, life happened. I think that Pacific Crest is going to enjoy a 13th place. I know that's like the kissing your sister placement, but you got to be happy about that. You got to be happy that you are to the very end competing for finals. It's just, they only take 12. And even though I think we should only take 10, because of the less drum corps, you were one out. And that's something to be excited about for building the big MO, the build momentum, not the big MO. MO is modus operandi. The big big momentum. So those are the captions where things can change, where they need the most help. I feel like if I had a screen, was it Steve Kornacki? And I'm like, well, if the Phantom Regiment, that kind of thing. Where are the votes? I think that those are the captions based off of Thursday, where the Phantom Regiment, where the Troopers, and potentially Pacific Crest can make up ground on Madison Scouts. The only difference is Troopers can, and I think will, beat the Cavaliers. Phantom Regiment can and will beat the Phantom Regiment. Pacific Crest, I don't think they got it. Even if Blue Knights had the show of their life, I don't think the Blue Knights or Crossmen have it in them to jump almost 3, if not 4 points to beat the Madison Scouts. You're hoping that the Madison Scouts have a bad show and you have the greatest show. I just think it's not going to happen. No offense to the other drum corps. The facts are facts. The scores are there. That's why I say what I say. That's why I think what I think. So finals predictions. Now, I realize I'm going to make a video tomorrow morning about finals. So all I will say is this. I don't think the top 12 changes. These are your top 12 placements. I think that we may see a closing of the gap or even a leaping already of Phantom over Crown and Troopers over Cavaliers. Do I think that the Troopers can catch the Colts? I don't. And do I think that the Colts can catch the Blue Stars? I also don't. Do I think the Blue Stars can catch Mandarins? No, I don't. And I don't think the Mandarins can catch Santa Clara. I think the only motion we will see is in the aforementioned Phantom Regiment, Carolina Crown, and Troopers and Cavaliers. So there you have it, my thoughts and breakdown, my recap on prelims and my thoughts going to semifinals today. As I mentioned, tomorrow we will be back on a reaction video of semis to see where Daniel was right and where Daniel was wrong, and to go into my predictions of how the top 12 is going to place on Friday. If you watch enough and you hear me enough, you know what I'm going to say, but at least I can put it down for the record so that you can come back and tell me how wrong I was or how right I was. I'm going to be more right than wrong, hopefully. All right, so as we like to say, let's pay some bills. YouTube. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe, click that notification bell so you know when we drop the newest video. We're not stopping, can't stop, won't stop. There will be at least one video a week, if not two, possibly three, depending on how inspired we are. And you will start to see and hear other voices, other opinions on this channel. This isn't just a me channel. This is my show. The recap is my show. There are other things coming down the chute. We're going to be uploading some previous podcast episodes from Bring It In, as well as Sketchbook and some other things. So this will become more than just the Daniel Montoya Jr. show. I promise. So if you don't like me, there's going to be a lot of other people on here. If you do like me, you'll see me. But yeah, like, subscribe, click the notification bell, leave a comment, share the video. That really helps with engagement. And of course, that helps with AdSense. Speaking of AdSense, if you can see, we have a store down below where you can buy General Effect media gear as well as General Effect, the brand merchandise. It's all there. The profits go to our content creators after administrative fees and all that kind of stuff. So if you would like to support us, in addition to watching our videos and watching the ads, buy a shirt. Why not? Give us a shot. And as the winter months come, we will start to see long sleeve jackets, hoodies, blah, blah, blah. If you would rather just give us money, we do accept donations at Ko-fi, K-O-F-I. Give us $1, give us $5, give us $500, $5,000, $50,000, $500,000. We'll take it. Again, after administrative fees, these all go to the content creators because this is all a labor of love. We do it for free because we're nerds. It's basically a hobby. If you're one of those that would rather just watch pictures, maybe a little bit of shorts, some videos, etc., please subscribe to our Instagram, General Effect Media. I don't run it. The kids run it, so it's going to be way cooler and way more up to date. For me, it's brat summer. I don't eat brats, but I would more align with brat than brat. Bart? Maybe. Bart Simpson. And then if you like to read stuff, if you want to get more nerdy about articles, statistics, or opinion pieces, please subscribe to our General Effect.media Substack. You can get some really cool stuff, some breakdowns, and we just had a great article published by Matthew Carstensen, Back of the Bus. Give it a ring. Give it a read, rather. Give it a ring. Give it a read. Boy, give it a share. All that kind of stuff. So there we go. There we go. One more show. One more show. Well, the next video after this will be one more show. We're yet to have semifinals. So 2 more shows, but one more recap on the day of a show. Anyway, the space-time continuum isn't flowing. I need lunch. Anyway, let us know what you think about my thoughts. Give us your thoughts and predictions of how semifinals are going to go. It's exciting. We're getting to the end. We're getting to the end. Is it already the end of the season? We'll talk about that later. We'll make another video. No sense in dragging this out. We'll see you tomorrow morning, sometime. The video will be released before finals. Good luck, everyone. Enjoy semifinals.